How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. Massive crypto breach, hackers extract 26 million in Bitcoin and Ethereum from an exchange. This was DeFi exchange Fixed Float. It has been targeted by hackers in a high-profile hack, resulting in 26 million worth of Bitcoin and Ethereum stolen from the exchange. There's not very much known about what happened. In their response to the incident, they did assure their users that their funds were not affected by the hack, and that they clarified that this does not function as a custodial service, meaning they do not store your funds on their exchange. So it was their own funds that was stolen, most likely. They emphasized that the service never requested users' private keys. However, it is speculated that the hacker may have acquired the private key required to record a Monero transaction. The investigation into the hack is currently underway, and Fixed Float team has pledged to release any further information as it becomes available. VanEck fined £1.75 million by the SEC over undisclosed social media influencer deal. VanEck has agreed to pay a £1.75 million fine due to settle charges brought by the SEC regarding a social media ETF in 2021. On February 16th, the SEC disclosed in a statement that during the launch of the VanEck Social Settlement ETF on March 2021, VanEck did not fully disclose the involvement of a prominent social media personality in marketing the product. The ETF aimed to track an index using positive insights from social media and other data sources. However, the SEC found that VanEck attempted to enhance the fund's success through social media and collaborated with an influencer and devised online personality to increase its appeal. The regulator observed an undisclosed detail that the influencer's fee was tied to the fund's growth, ensuring higher compensation as the fund expanded, so that made sure that this influencer promoted this ETF, and that was not disclosed in the deal. Over on Dixie for the daily, we do have a slight inverted hammer, long upper shadow. So this could show that buyers did try to push us forward, but they did end up getting rejected. So we tried to fill this gap like we warned about, but we did get rejected. So stochastic is coming down now. Our orange is still above blue, so we do still have that bearish cross. RSI would be in jeopardy of rolling away. This is on our market cipher B down here on our indicators. Remember, this is all free, just like TradingView. That is all what we're using. It's all free information. That's why you should hit the notification, hit the subscribe, visit the Mastering the Trade playlist. You'll learn a lot of free information. But we're using Market Cipher A free version and Market Cipher B edits. Hit this gear here if you're new for Market Cipher A. Change your style to as following. 70% opacity. Inputs you'll want as following. And then your Market Cipher A will look like mine. We do have further setup coming in the Mastering the Trade series coming this week, so if you don't have it set up, you could see that. Our stochastic does want to come down. Momentum is rolling away. The stochastic's this double line. RSI is weakening. That RSI, remember, gets the strength from that stochastic. Momentum is rolling away. That VWAP is breaking into the bearish territory. Our VWAP is this yellow wave. The yellow wave has lower highs with lower lows, so we do have a bearish trend. And our big blue wave is coming down as a result. That's our momentum wave. As that big blue wave comes down, this money flow could flip into the red. When it's below zero, it's red and bearish, meaning it could sell off. However, when it's green and above zero, it's bullish, meaning we could see bulls attempt to push us forward. But right now, we do have some bullish money flow, but our VWAP does have a bearish trend. If this bearish trend continues on the lower time frames, we are likely going to push down to the support of that 103.662. Real quick on the 1 hour, we are in a heavy bearish trend with that money flow. VWAP is favoring the bearish territory. If that continues, we could continue to push down. If we zoom in here, this could be a triangle. We could make a descending triangle where this would be a freak break up. This would be a freak break down to that EMA, where the bears did try to gain control early, but that did not happen. That could end up pushing us down to about that 103.909. So we could recapture this wick back here. If we do not meet support there, then we could hit this other support level. And then again, we could fall to other supports. So remember that 102, and then we have 101. Over on our total for the daily, we did pump up, so we did invalidate this double top. We will get rid of this possibility. That is positive for the altcoins for now, but we will have to see what happens. So right now the total pumping and Bitcoin dominance is starting to go down. So while this total is going up and Bitcoin dominance is going down, that suggests people are selling Bitcoin off for total or our altcoins. You can see several altcoins did increase today. Graph and ALGO are two good performers for the day. XRP and Ankr not so much, but they did have some decent performance in the last couple days. Ankr's doing pretty decent, it's just today. So Graph is continuing to push up. Algo's continuing to push up. That shows money flow is still moving into those altcoins, but I would just exercise some caution. We are making a higher high with higher lows, so that is positive so far. We could push into this manipulation area of our Fibonacci retracement zone. If we can push into this manipulation area, then we may continue higher. We could just get one big push up into it. Remember that it is a volatile move, but we do see this VWAP in the bearish territory. Momentum does want to push away. Stochastic is overbought. RSI has been overbought for a while, so I would just exercise some caution. We could round away, but we do have some momentum building. Again, watch those lower time frames. So if we jump to the 1 hour, our money flow is very strong in the bullish territory. Momentum is making bearish divergence. Stochastic does want to make a bearish cross. That momentum has a double red dot as that VWAP wants to break into that bearish territory. If we see the 1 hour start to round away here, we could see some bearish momentum build. If that happens, we would see this start to weaken, and then we may not see a continued push forward. However, if this VWAP maintains this bullish momentum here, and this money flow remains in the bullish territory, we will still have the possibility of pushing up. So I would keep that scenario in mind. Remember, the money flow does lead where you're going, so as long as that money flow is bullish, you can move forward, but you do still get those flash crashes. So even though we had strong bullish money flow back here, we did wick down to the bottom of our support from being way up here. That's not very far from where we are right now, so just keep that scenario in mind. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are rounding away from that support line, so we are rejecting. I am going to delete this now. So if we continue to reject, we will push down. That did invalidate that double bottom possibility where we came up, hit that neckline, and then now we pulled back. This could start a bearish trend. This could be some sort of a limp shoulder, a head, and then another shoulder. If that were the case, we could push down. These would be like some freak breakdowns, but so I wouldn't really count on that. I wouldn't really draw any patterns on the way this dominance is looking. If we look at our fixed range volume profile though, we are pushing near that point control, so that's why our fixed range volume profile is helpful, because when we don't have any kind of support or resistances or any kind of patterns that we can go off, we can use this to estimate where we can move to. Now we are starting to come up to this point control, our middle blue line. As we come up to that point control, if we continue with red candles, we could break through it. This could make a shoulder, a head, and then a shoulder. So we could break through it, come up, try to retest it, then get rejected, and then we could sell off and retrace some of these gains back here. If we do not hold in that area, then we would push to this value area low, and that could push us even lower on our dominance. So I would watch out. You do want to watch these areas for your supports. If we can get some strong green candles above this point control though, we do still have that potential to push back toward our value area high and gain some bullish momentum here. Stochastic does want to come down, RSI is coming down, momentum does want to round away. That VWAP is in the bearish territory. We are getting lower lows, we are starting to get some lower highs. If we continue with these lower lows and the lower highs, we will have that bearish favor, and that bearish favor will continue to pull this momentum down, which will continue to weaken our money flow. If that money flow flips into that bearish territory, then we can see that trend reverse, and then we could see a heavy sell-off if we are not careful. Over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we are still within our flag pattern, so we are still chopping sideways. We do have the potential to still continue forward But just remember, no pattern's 100%. We could still invalidate with dominance weakening, and then we can push to our value area high, fill this gap, and then maybe get a bounce and continue back up. Our stochastic is overbought. Our momentum does have a double red dot. We do want to push away. RSI does want to round away with a red dot as well. Our VWAP is pushing into the bearish territory. Momentum is starting to roll away as a result of that VWAP getting weaker, which is going to push this money flow into the bearish territory if we continue to see that VWAP get weaker. So if you would like, you could look at the 1 hour. The 1 hour, we are starting into a bearish trend with that money flow. VWAP is starting to favor the bearish territory. Momentum has broken into the bearish territory, which did make that money flow break back into our bearish territory after trying to break bullishly. So we do have a bit bearish momentum here on the 1 hour. If this bearish momentum continues, it could start to weaken our higher time frames. Remember, it does tend to trickle up, so it tends to go from the 1 to the 2 to the 4 and then onto the daily. If we start to see the 1, 2, and 4 get really weak, usually the daily can break pretty suddenly. Over on Bitcoin for the daily itself, we are still within this pattern, our flag here as well. We did push down from our rising channel that we had, but it kept us within this flag. So we did kind of push forward a bit. It was a bit higher forward than we had last night. So if you're watching this, we continued to chop sideways here. We jumped off this Fibonacci area, we continued forward, got rejected by the top of where you would push the channel to, and then we continued down. We did wick down to our support area, which was close to the bottom of where this channel could have broken down to based on where it rejected from. So we did get most of the move. It's not likely we will see the rest of the move. That is positive for bulls, as that means we could continue forward. Our VWAP is trying to make a bullish trend. Money flow is trying to make a bullish trend as well. RSI is starting to head down. Stochastic does want to round. Momentum does want to pull back into the bullish territory. So if the VWAP can break back into the bullish territory and start to favor bullishly here, we could see our other time frames start to get stronger. So that could help us push forward. The 2 hour, you might almost be able to draw a pendant here if you wanted. So there would be that 50-50 possibility of pushing down if you drew that. But I'm not going to base on that. We'll still go off of this flag. I will just move this pole a little bit over here. We do have 3 touches to the top. We have 3 touches to the bottom. So we're going to want the bullish momentum to start to continue here and to get a push up. That means we will need dominance to continue forward if we're going to see Bitcoin start to continue up. Stochastic does want to round up. RSI is weakening because that stochastic did sell off. Momentum does want to round off as that VWAP is in the bearish territory. So if this 1 hour continues bullish momentum, this VWAP could break back into the bullish territory and bring the momentum back up. But if that 1 hour starts to reject, our VWAP will reject, momentum will come down, and our money flow will break into a bearish territory. Over on the 4 hour, we are doing a little backwards here just because we started with how we could look on the 1 hour. So we'll just go backwards and see how we can look forwards from there. Over on the 4 hour, we do have bearish divergence on our momentum. That does mean we could start to push down. Again, if that 1 hour continues weakness, this could play out. This could end up giving us a double top here. So you have a rise, a drop, a rise, consistent, and then a drop that can make you fall lower. So you do take your move, your neckline would be from your rises. So if we were to go from here to here, try and make it straight. And then from here to here, so that's going to be your breakout from your head to your neck. And then you apply that, and that's almost where I had that arrow, right around that 48.8. So if we do not see bullish momentum continue on those lower time frames, we could break this 50K and possibly 49K. If we cannot hold that 48.8 level, we could continue a slide lower. Remember, we did get one big volatile push up. So usually when you get one big move one way, you do get another move another way. So I would watch out for that. But that doesn't necessarily mean we have to sell off all in once as well. Our stochastic is weakening, momentum has bearish divergence. VWAP is in the bearish territory and our money flow is weakening overall. So again, if those lower time frames are weaker, we could see a push down. However, on this daily, we are still within our flag and we do still have the potential to push to around 54k. Stochastic is starting to fall, momentum is falling, the VWAP is in the bearish territory, money flow is starting to come down, and the RSI is starting to curl out. So if those lower time frames pick up bearish momentum, this daily could start to sell off and invalidate this pattern. Again, remember, no pattern's 100%. Over on graph for the daily, you can see we did push up a little bit, so we didn't necessarily break away from our pattern. You're not always going to break away right away. We do still have some bearish momentum. We'll cover that on the lower time frames though. Stochastic does want to round, momentum does want to round here. RSI is going flat. VWAP is in danger of breaking into that bearish territory, and money flow does want to push down. So despite us pumping up, we do look like everything is rounding away. So we do have divergences. Those are signals that we could start to sell off. Again, when you get one straight shot one way, you do typically correct. Over on our 4 hour here, momentum is pushing down. We do have those bearish indicators, those red dots. Stochastic selling off. Our RSI is weakening as a result. VWAP has broken into the bearish territory. We do have a bearish trend with lower highs and lower lows. If that bearish trend continues, we will see the bears start to push down on the 4 hour. You can see we did get this breakout. We are trying to retest. So this is a critical spot for us. If we get this retest and we reject on the next candle, it's very likely we will see this breakdown. This is where you would want to enter a short or possibly sell. If you were hoping for any kind of if you bought here and you're waiting for a bearish indicator that we're going to get a breakdown, this could be it. Momentum does want to round. RSI is starting to fall. Stochastic is starting to fall. We do cover that in the Mastering the Trade series as well. So if you're not familiar with the rising channels, visit that Mastering the Trade series. That VWAP is in the bearish territory, money flow is breaking down, so overall this 4 hour is in jeopardy of pushing lower, and the lower time frames don't look much better. Over on the 2 hour, you can see we do have this rounding bottom, so we're going to need to confirm a strong green candle and close this green candle right about where it is right now. If we can't do both those things, then we may still round away. We would invalidate a retest that would give the bears the strength to push us down. However, if we do get that retest, we could come back into this pattern. If we come back into the pattern, we could invalidate it by pushing forward. RSI is trying to reverse its trajectory by gaining some bullish momentum, but the stochastic is still selling off, so I would watch that RSI. It could start to bend away. Momentum is starting to break into the bearish territory as that VWAP is favoring the bearish territory, and the money flow is breaking down as well, so I would pay close attention to these lower time frames. If they break into bearish territory, we are likely going to reject lower. Over on the 1 hour, our money flow is remaining bullish, VWAP is bullish, and we are pushing against this resistance. There is a possibility we can break up and push forward, so this is pretty decent for us. If we can break through this resistance area, we could continue back up and continue into higher areas. Momentum does have a green dot, so we do have bullish indicators here as well. Money flow is remaining bullish. This is pretty good. Again, watch for the next candle, watch for confirmation. We could follow with a strong red candle and just sell off, kind of like back here. So just be wary of that possibility. Over on Ankr for the daily, we did push up pretty good here as well. We wicked very close to our 34 that we mentioned we could see at some point. We did kind of pull back. We do have an indecision candle. This is more of a long, like doji candle, as the two wicks are about the same length. Our momentum is in the bullish territory. Stochastic is pushing forward. Our blue is above orange, so that could be positive. We are still overbought. RSI is pretty overbought. Momentum's overbought. VWAP does want to break into the bearish territory, and the money flow does want to round into the bearish territory as well, despite this momentum being in the bullish territory. So we do look a little indecisive here. We do look like we could see some sort of a pullback. Over on the 4 hour, we did fill this wick, so you can see how those candle wicks do tend to fill. We do have a long lower wick to fill as well. This was a long lower shadow. That does show that sellers got exhausted, so buyers stepped in and pushed us forward. Now we have a long upper shadow, so if we see strong red candles here, the sellers could start to gain control, as the buyers would be the ones getting exhausted. And then if they gain control and push us below this wick, we could start to lose some of these support levels. Stochastic does want to round, RSI wants to round, momentum is pushing forward, VWAP is getting lower highs and starting to round away. So if that VWAP breaks into the bearish territory, our momentum could round off and bring this money flow lower. If that money flow weakens, then we could flip into a bearish trend. However, we do still have that bullish money flow, so we do still have the possibility of pushing forward. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic is starting to round away, momentum is starting to round too, VWAP does want to lose some strength here, RSI is curling, money flows overall losing strength, momentum is pushing with higher highs, but with the way everything else is looking, that could start to reverse as well. I would watch the 1 hour. As this 1 hour starts to gain bearish momentum, then we could see the other time frames start to slide. Our VWAP does want to break bearish on the 1 hour. We are trying to make lower highs relative to here. So if we continue to make lower highs with lower lows, we could start to favor bearish territory. If that happens, this momentum will start to round away as it has this double red dot. Stochastic does have orange above blue, so we do want to sell off here as well. That will lead to the RSI starting to curl off, and that will show price action will start to weaken as well. If all those things happen, we could see the 1 hour flip into a bearish territory. If the 1 hour breaks into a bearish territory, we could start to see other time frames break down as well. Over on XRP for the daily, we did try to break down out of this channel, so we did try to see that confirmation of the breakdown. However, on the lower time frames, we probably pulled back into it. Over on the 1 hour, if we extend this forward a little bit, you can see we did try to break out of it. We did break back into it, and now we are trying to break back down out of it. If we do break back down out of it, we could still see lower price action, and this could just be a manipulation move to try and fake us out and just try and inch price higher. That would still put us down right around that 55,280. But we'll look at the daily and work backwards. Over on the daily, we are starting to get a red candle, so if we confirm red candles, we could start to round away, and we could see this pattern play out still. Stochastic does want to cross bullish, momentum is starting to round away, VWAP does want to break bearish, it's kind of indecisive though, and the money flow is very indecisive as well, it is starting to pull away from that neutral. So if this VWAP continues to trade sideways, the momentum starts to weaken while money flow starts to come out, we could still get a sell-off here. Over on the 4 hour, we are trying to retest the support level after trying to wick out of it. Stochastic is trying to push forward, RSI is trending flat, momentum is trying to push forward, but with the VWAP starting to curl away, that momentum could start to curl as well. Money flow is starting to push down, so I would watch this VWAP closely. If that VWAP gains bearish momentum on these lower time frames, we likely would round away. Over on the 2 hour, our orange does want to cross above blue. If we confirm and continue to push down from here, we could see the bears gain control. VWAP is starting to round away, it wants to break into the bearish territory. We did try to get a higher high, but if we make lower lows and then get lower highs after, this momentum will push under and that money flow will break into a bearish territory, and that will result into the 4 hour starting to weaken, which could start to weaken the daily as well. Over on the 1 hour, we do have our orange above our blue. On that stochastic, RSI is coming down, momentum is rounding with a red dot, VWAP is breaking into the bearish territory, and the money flow is starting to come down. So overall, we are gaining some bearish momentum. Again, it's going to be important if we break through this pattern and then get confirmation of a breakdown. If we get that confirmation, we could see even this 54 if we do not gain support at this breakdown point. Over on ALGO for the daily, we are trying to push up to the top of our channel, but we're starting to gain some bearish momentum for tomorrow's candle. If we confirm some bearish momentum, we could start to slide here, and then we could see a breakdown. Stochastic is trying to push bullish, RSI is going flat, momentum does want to round, VWAP's overall pushing down, and the money flow does want to break bearish as well. If that VWAP and money flow break into the bearish territory, then we are likely going to see price action start to push lower from here. Over on the 4 hour, stochastic is starting to round away, RSI is starting to lose some strength, momentum does want to round out, money flow is going flat, that VWAP is getting lower highs, so if we get lower lows, we could make a bearish trend. If we get a bearish trend on the 4-hour, we could see the money flow start to weaken, and then that could weaken the daily. Over on the 2-hour, we are starting to get a push down. We have a bearish engulfing candle. If we close like this and follow it with strong red candles, we could start to retrace these gains. Stochastic does want to round, RSI wants to round, momentum is rounding, VWAP is starting to fall, and the money flow is starting to push down as well. Over on the 1-hour, we are starting to get a rounding top. Stochastic is starting to push down. Momentum is starting to get a double red dot. And the RSI is starting to lose strength. VWAP is rounding out and the money flow is weakening here as well. If this VWAP continues the bearish trend like it was making back here, then we will see this 1-hour possibly break into a bearish trend that will start to weaken the other time frames, and we will see lower price action then. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.